Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the third episode of the Indie Game Development Log video series. In this one, I will be as per usual showing you what I've been working on for the past week. But before I go any further, I should mention that I found a major bug in the engine that made pretty much every corner in the game blurry. This is due to the ambient occlusion effect, which blurred the geometry's corners and didn't really preserve any edges the way it should. Now that this has been fixed, the final rendered image should look much cleaner without any blurry edges, as I mentioned, and also effects such as grass will really benefit from this, as you'll see later in this video. So with that out of the way, let me get into the main topic of this week's episode, and this is basically gonna be upgrading the painting system from the previous week with actual materials instead of just colors. As you can see on your screen, I can now deform the meshes with the paint. To achieve this effect, I'm using some basic tessellation in conjunction with previous week's episode's painting system to pretty much achieve this displacement mapping effect of the entire mesh. This is just done by displacing the vertices, the tessellated vertices along their normals, according to the height map created by the painting system. And as you can see from the video, there's also sort of a height growth effect animation going on, which adds a bit of a character to the effect. And I think it makes the effect quite a bit nicer compared to if the height just increased suddenly without any animation in between. With this kind of system, I can add many displacements to the scene's geometry without major performance impacts, but this isn't really meant to displace every single mesh in the scene. For that, I had to use something like voxels, which are much easier to manipulate in 3 dimensions than standard geometry, but they also decrease the final quality quite a bit. So I'll think about implementing those in the future. I might not. We'll see how much displacement I'll actually need in the final game. But for now, I'll just use this basic tessellation system with height offsets for materials that actually require it. From the video, you've probably already noticed there is no collision between the offset geometry and the player's character, because this will be quite a major challenge to actually get working correctly. And because of that, I haven't really been able to implement this week, and for the most part, in the final game, I probably won't be offsetting the geometry by this much as shown in this video, but I will offset it quite a bit, so I will have to get some collision working at some point. Okay, so another thing you might have noticed from the video is the new look of the grass, and you can tell me in the comments below if you prefer it to the old one, because I personally really like it a lot more than the previous version. You probably might not see that much blur in the actual YouTube video because of compression, but in the actual render there is a lot of difference. There's basically no blur in this version compared to the previous one, so this one is a major improvement in my opinion. Actually, another thing I've added this week for those of you who watch my channel for quite a long time, I've upgraded this effect many times, but the sun scattering effect is now finally considered sort of complete, because now the effect will work on every geometry in the scene, no matter the complexity or anything. This includes particles as well. Another thing that I briefly worked on this week was improving the resolutions of the painted materials. So in this example you can see the much higher detailed rock surface compared to the paint in last week's episode. Another thing to point out with the offset effect is that I can use different brushes to set how spiky or how round the offset geometry will be. In this example, I'm using just the rock's height as offset, but I could just use some random brush that would mask out, let's say, the center of the image, and just the sides would rise up and the center would stay flat. For the keen-eyed graphical programmers out there, you could already notice that there are some basic issues with the offset geometry normals, and I had some problems calculating those, and I'm aware of them, and I'll have to fix them in the future as well. For the more round geometry, there's no problem with the lighting whatsoever, for now I think. But for more spiky materials, the normal calculations are quite inconsistent. Okay, so this is pretty much it for this week's episode. If you like the video, like it, and if you'd like to see more videos in the indie development log video series, you can subscribe to my channel. If you also want to help me out, you can share this video with anyone that would be interested. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!